How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode of Devin the Bear. Currently, right now, me and Zach are actually watching the Fury 49 cards happening right now in San Antonio. And we just saw a really bad stoppage in the Josh Rosen Frank Minnow fight. It was a Josh Rosen had a rear naked choke, but Frank Minnow was fighting it off, kept his chin tucked, and the ref just steps in out of nowhere and stops that fight.
That was far worse than the Michael Chiesa, Kevin Lee stoppage. Frank Minnow is sitting in the choke. It's a deep choke. But he stays calm, and that allows him to, the second that Josh Rosen's grip starts letting up, he starts tucking his chin underneath. And it's like, okay, he's staying calm and he's fighting it, and then the ref stops it.
Yeah, like Josh Rosen readjusted it and got it in tighter, then he stopped it. I'm like, why are you stopping it? Like, I don't know. I didn't really understand it.
And Frank Minnow is immediately upset, very understandably so. But it's like, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it. The ref stopped it, and they're the ones who are trusted with that decision.
What's up with these regional refs, man?
Oh my God, they're bad.
Yeah.
They're really bad.
Like
Texas.
I've actually considered looking into going to a referee school. And stuff, and I've thought long and hard about it. What's that?
It's expensive.
It is expensive, but it's pretty cool to be able to do that. But I'm like, I don't want to fuck up like that. Like,
Oh man, you just gotta pay attention. I don't know if he thought he was unconscious or what, and he's like, I don't want to be Rob Alexander and let a guy almost die.
Yeah. It's like we kind of took he took too much notes, and it was just I don't know, man. But actually, so if y'all are listening, I would definitely recommend going back and watching these fights. It's Juan Adams fighting for the Fury FC Heavyweight Championship. Really good regional fights. Juan Adams, former UFC vet. So, yeah, check them out. But also, we have things to discuss. The PFL 9 cards happened. Also with the UFC ESPN, it was the TUF finale. The season was Brian Ortega versus Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski for it was middleweights and featherweights, and last night was the finale, along with being headlined by Giga Chikadze and Edson Barboza.
And if you missed that card, you're a fool.
Yeah, you
felt. I feel like that was the first really good card we've had in a while. We got speaking of last night's fights, we got a pretty solid heel hook in here.
Always out.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, from top to bottom though, it was really fun cards. But before, actually, I would kind of want to get into the PFL fights first, because these UFC fights last night were really, really good. So
pretty all around.
Yeah, I mean, so the PFL card was the semifinals. They do, if you keep up with the sport, or with it's not just sport, but the promotion, they do it really cool. Over there, it was Brendan Loughnane and Malovit Kabalayev headlining the card. And I mean, the first fight in, we saw Martin Hamlet take on Cesar Ferreira, and just a freak accident.
Yeah, I was really excited for it, because originally I was like, you know what, Cesar Ferreira's got this. And then I don't know, last minute I switched to Martin Hamlet.
Yeah.
The Norwegian, man, Vikings. So I was like, all right, you know what, I'm all in on you, buddy. And yeah, Cesar Ferreira goes in there, throws a leg kick, and then his other leg he ripped his hamstring up and fell down immediately. And Martin Hamlet never had to do anything.
Why does his face look like that?
Because they're trying to get hyped, buddy.
Sorry, I'm watching this fight card. I'm trying to stay focused as well. But yeah, he just pulled his hamstring or something, freak accident, and it sucks to see it. Now Martin Hamlin is moving on to win $1 million, and Cesar Ferreira gets from not stretching enough or not enough pickle juice.
Well, I know Cesar Ferreira cut down. This was a light heavyweight fight. He's a heavyweight fighter.
Yeah.
So he cut down. So maybe it's got something to do with the strain he put on his body. I don't know.
I mean, what was the cut? How long did he have to get ready? He had a while to get ready for this.
Yeah, he had a bit of time.
Yeah.
But I mean, you never know. But yeah, as soon as he landed back with his other leg, his right leg just started tightening up, and you could see his hamstring on the back end just swelling and twitching around. It was weird.
Well, he's been at what's that? Actually, I don't know. His fights previously when he was in the UFC, he was fighting at 185.
His UFC fights was at 185, and I think he had one at 205, which back then he didn't look good. Like physically, he didn't look good. So whenever he was at heavyweight against Verdum, he looked fantastic.
You're getting confused. That's why I was thrown off. You're thinking about Hernan Ferreira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about Caesar. He used to fight at he fought a middleweight and welterweight. He actually has fought Jorge Masvidal.
Well, have you seen him? He's huge.
He is big. Yeah, he's 6'1".
Massive.
Yeah, he's a very big welterweight, so that makes sense for him to go to middleweight. So
too many Fajeas. Come on, Brazil.
It throws you off a little bit.
Get more creative with your nicknames.
And so, but yeah, so it was just good for Martin Hamlet. Who's he moving on to fight? I want to say he's moving on to fight Antonio Carlos Jr. now, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
Carlos Jr.'s freaking good, man.
He's really good. It's crazy that he's not in the UFC anymore. So speaking of that, though, we had Antonio Carlos Jr. take on Emiliano Sordi. I was really looking forward to this fight as well. Sordi, it's kind of funny watching him fight because he always looks like he's tired.
Yeah, it's just like his eyes and his face
the way
is kind of gone.
And shit. Yeah, it's just. But Antonio Carlos Jr. is a top tier fighter.
Yeah.
He just. I forgot how old he was when he got into the UFC, but he just never really did anything with it. But has amazing jiu-jitsu as well. Tried to get Sordi to the ground, and Sordi was able to keep it standing, and that's kind of I felt like Emiliano won the fight.
Yeah.
But it was also, it was just a good back and forth fight. It could have went either way, to be honest with you. And we've seen what's his name, Antonio Carlos Jr. He's been around for a minute. He used to fight a heavyweight. Crazy to think about. He used to fight a heavyweight. That's when he won the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, back in 2014. And so, but he's kind of fought everybody, man. He's been all over the place. Finally got down to middleweight. I think middleweight's his perfect weight class for him.
Yeah.
And, he has a good win over guys like, Tim Boach and Tom Lawler. So, so that was that. And so in the light heavyweight final for $1 million, we're going to see Martin Hamlet taking on Antonio Carlos Jr. And so on to the featherweight semifinals, we had Chris Wade defeat Bubba Jenkins by decision. And this was actually a fun wrestling match.
Yeah, it was.
It was a lot of good train wrestling going on.
Yeah, very good. They were transitioning left and right.
Yeah, and Bubba Jenkins is super fucking athletic. And so is, you see Chris Wade, dude, I'm like, dude, what the? He's fucking just ripped. He's just shredded. And it's insane to see. But Chris Wade was just, I think he kind of weathered the storm in the first round.
Yeah.
And he just kind of was able to kind of catch on to that.
His grappling just kind of looked a little better offensively than Bubba Jenkins. Bubba Jenkins was able to get him back down and reverse a few times, but ultimately what we saw was Chris Wade getting a choke, and then Bubba Jenkins doing some wild spinning transitions to get out of it. It was freaking nuts.
Bubba Jenkins, I don't know what his background in wrestling is, but it's just reminded me of like old school, like chain wrestling, like folk style.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal wrestler. But yeah, and that's what the whole match was. Like you said, it was just great wrestling. But anytime they were on the feet, Chris Wade was winning it. His style is just really good. Oh, we just got to finish in the Fury card. His name's like Governale. Beating Lynn on the Fury card by
Guillotine.
Guillotine. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, so Chris Wade had a very strong showing. Bubba Jenkins just couldn't keep up, and then later in the late second and third round, he just couldn't keep up with Chris Wade anymore. He was a bit too gassed.
Yeah.
And Chris Wade was just constantly in his face.
Which is crazy to see because Bubba Jenkins can keep a really good pace.
Yeah, we saw that with his past fights. Yeah. He's been able to beat everybody anywhere.
Man walks in there with the power of God, speaking tongues and shit. So I wouldn't ever want to fight a man speaking tongues. It's got the power of Christ in both ends. And but yeah, it's just all around good fight. So good on Chris.
Not the right Christ.
What's that? But but it's we'll see Chris Wade in the featherweight finals. We're fighting for $1 million, and he'll be taking on
Movli Kabalayev.
Yeah.
Who just had a very dominant performance against Brendan Loughnane.
This fight was really disappointing for me.
Yep.
And Brendan Loughnane just let him do whatever he wanted.
It's that Eastern European pressure, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is they're doing over there, but
I can't stand, though, whenever I watch a fighter, and this is all opinions, of course. I know I'm not a fucking pro fighter, but whenever I watch opinions and these guys just kind of just let them do whatever. Like, they just give up. And that's kind of what we saw is Brendan Loughnane just stopped. And even in the second round when they were standing up, that's his advantage. He's known for knocking people the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything with it. It's just like, come on, man. Like,
and it's a lot of that is because Kabalayev is also known for knocking people out.
Yeah.
And it's usually with a flying knee.
Yeah.
That dude's so good at timing his flying knees. So I understand the hesitation. What I don't understand is the lack of urgency.
Yeah.
The last round, Brendan Loughnane just, like you said, he was just kind of there, getting taken down, getting held down. But yeah, that's going to be the featherweight finalists.
Yeah.
And the light heavyweight finalists.
And so I'm excited for this featherweight fight, though.
Chris Wade and Movlid Kabalayev. Yeah, that's going to be good.
So for sure. So on to the UFC Fight Night, Chikadze versus Barboza. Top to bottom, dude, I was enjoying this whole card.
Yeah. It's hard to... we're getting to where we mostly talk main cards now, but it's hard to not talk about these prelims because these prelims were pretty sick.
And so, first fight of the night was one that I didn't know until Friday night that Leomano Martinez was making his UFC debut.
Yeah.
And he came in very last minute for this fight, late replacement. And hats off to this guy for coming in and fighting a very tough fight against Guido Canetti. Canetti. And so, I get him confused with that boxer that Carlos fought every time I see their names. And so, but yeah, he fought Guido Canetti in a really close fight, in a really back and forth fight. And speaking of Mano Martinez, though, he's the epitome of a fighter when you look at what he's done and what's happened. From going and fighting on the regional circuits, he had a fight in Contender Series. He lost. He took it last minute and he lost, and he picked up a couple more wins. Gets signed to the UFC, and sadly, his coach, legendary MMA trainer Sauce Elise, passed away a couple weeks ago. So you have in the matter of this, he had to pull out of that fight 2 weeks ago. Yeah. In the matter of that time, he's had to, attend a funeral on this past Wednesday. Takes this fight against a very tough opponent in Guido Canetti, and he missed weight, which it's understandable. He had a lot going on, late replacement. Your coach just passed away. And you're having to be there because, Metro Fight Club, they're like a family right there. And he comes in and he pulls off a good win. He looks like, he at first it looked like he was a step behind, but, he's having to sit there and focus. It's hard to focus when you have so many things going on so much. And he was able to edge off a really good victory.
Yeah. Guido came out pretty strong with the kicks.
Yeah.
And he was chopping up Mano's legs. And Mano in the first round was kind of sitting back and waiting for the counters, and they weren't there because you had Guido moving kind of backwards and then squeaking out of the sides whenever he needed to, but then going into the corner, Adrian Yanez was in Mano's corner, and he had some pretty good advice. I think he kind of hit the nail on the head there, saying, whenever he's hitting you, you need to hit him right back. You need to fire back immediately. Don't let him get these shots in for free, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And so after that, the second and third round, you saw Mano being a bit more active. Whenever Guido would back himself into the cage, Mano would start unloading on him, and then Guido would get out of it still. So that was kind of the synopsis of that whole fight, was Mano backing up Guido, punching him around for a little bit, and then Guido coming out of it. But I think as the fight progressed, Mano just got even better and looked even better. And at the very end of the third round, he got a takedown and for sure kind of secured that round for him. And he got the decision win. It was a split decision. One judge gave it to Guido, I think. But, he, like you said, just the epitome of a fighter.
The odds are stacked against you, and you still go out there and
inside and outside the cage.
Yeah.
But he went in there and he did his thing, and he came out the winner. He and Adrian Yanez kind of had a moment.
Yeah.
He was crying, very emotional. I don't know what the deal is with these Fury fights, man. They keep freezing up. Well, yeah. So
shit, it's not.
With that, big win.
Yeah.
I do expect to see a better performance next time.
We will, for sure.
It was just it's been a tough time for him. So, you can't blame him for not putting on the kind of performance we're used to seeing from Leo Mana Martinez.
Yeah, I think like we talked about too, it was last minute, so much going on inside outside the cage, and
Yeah.
I mean, he showed spots where it's like, you know, he has the potential. That's the reason why he got signed, and we just, you know, it's hard to focus because like even when he was getting inside, he's able to land good shots, but yeah, I think right now I can guarantee that next time we see Mana in the cage, it's gonna be a much better performance, and he's probably gonna knock somebody out because he's got fucking hands, you know.
Absolutely.
So
the next fight in the prelims was Pat Sabatini and Jamal Emmers, and this fight was, I expected it to be a war, first round to third round, the whole fight. But instead we get Jamal Emmers goes in there and gets a takedown real early on, and Pat Sabatini's kind of thrown off because of that.
Yeah.
But then you have them stand back up, and Sabatini's hurting. He's hurting Jamal Emmers, and then they both kind of end up in a funny position. It's Jamal Emmers going for a toe hold, and then Pat Sabatini ends up getting a heel hook, which, as Michael Bisping said during this moment, he was toe hold, schmo hold. A heel hook is just a much more devastating maneuver. So when you have a toe hold, you don't have as much leverage over the entirety of the leg, as opposed to the heel hook. And Pat Sabatini just torqued the heel and just tore up Emmer's leg, and it was dirty. You could see the tendons like tearing up. It was so bad.
So yeah, it was when I was watching it, like I said, is like, you know, I've seen you watch somebody's, like, you move your leg, you know, from the knee down, you can move it to the right and the left, but whenever you move like your entire leg when you do that.
Yeah.
To see a kneecap, you know, completely turn the complete opposite way than the rest of the fucking leg is just really, really tough to see. And Jamal Emmers is probably going to have a pretty long road for the next 6 months to a year, recovering that Achilles and recovering that knee. I mean,
yeah.
But, excuse me, I was surprised that he was still attacking with that toe hold. I mean, it hurts, but it's not as effective as a heel hook. When someone has your whole Achilles in their arm and they're twisting it, you know.
And if that didn't get submission of the night, there's really only one other one that could have done it, but I feel like that one should have got it.
He got what's it called? Performance of the night.
Okay, good, because that was a crazy minute. Another fight there's a few fights on the prelims, but we'll start to kind of push through them. Dustin Jacoby and Darren Stewart was a really solid fight for the bit that it lasted. I did expect this fight to go on a little longer as well. Darren Stewart's really tough. I knew he was going to put on a tough fight for Dustin Jacoby, who I'm pretty sure was the favorite. But once Jacoby got Darren Stewart backed up, he just turned the pressure on and just landed a few good shots that rocked him a few different times. And Darren Stewart went down. Actually, he didn't even go down. He was kind of out on his feet a little bit. He didn't argue too much. I wouldn't have, because he was getting rocked left and right, and if the ref wasn't there to stop it, he would have been out cold.
The other day, I was actually just scrolling across TV, and the Glory first round knockouts compilation was on TV.
Yeah,
and he popped up. I was like, "What the hell?" And I forgot he fought in Glory. But yeah, man,
Dustin Jacoby.
Yeah.
His kickboxing background is pretty stellar. He's got great kickboxing. That's what we saw in the fight.
And I think we needed to see a fight like this out of him, because the last fight was against Ion Cutelaba, and it was just kind of a stale fight.
And I expected more from that fight too.
Yeah.
Because both of those guys like to go in there and hurt people. But then you had Wellington Turman defeat Sam Alvey by a split decision. It was a pretty good fight, very back and forth. Just not the performance you want to see from Sam Alvey, whose job is on the line.
Yeah.
I'm pretty upset by it. I'm a big fan of Marlon Sam Alvey, but we're not gonna. I can't imagine we're gonna keep seeing him.
No,
like,
there's no way he sticks.
He's gonna be cut after this, I imagine.
And one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately is, I mean, holy shit, he's on more than just a. I thought he was on a 6 loss. Actually, yeah. I mean, 6.
Should be
6-1. He has a draw.
Uh-huh.
But it's one of the things I was thinking about the other day is what's it called? I was thinking about the other day is just. With the UFC, we have the best fighters in the world, but I feel like we also need to have those fun fighters that's like, okay, you're probably not going to fight for a title again,
Yeah.
But we need to have some fun fights, and but Sam Alvey's kind of getting away from being also that fun fighter as well.
Yeah.
You know,
because they're good fights, but they're not going to be main card fights. They're not going to be, crowd drawing fights.
No.
Like Clay Guida is always going to be in there. Diego Sanchez was in there for a while.
Yeah.
Forrest Griffin was there. It's like, it's they're not going to put on a title run, but they're going to be fun to watch, and you're going to be excited when they walk out. But Wellington Turman got the win. Maybe he started calling himself Beef, so he got the nod from the judges.
He got the point. He's been listening in. That's what it is. And so the highlight, the main event on the prelims was Abdul Razak Al Hassan defeating Alessio Di Chirichio by a very devastating fucking head kick.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. I keep saying it. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is fun to watch.
Yeah, he is.
Everything he throws, you see the power being put behind it, and it's just insane. So when he lands this head kick, you had Di Chirico leaning to the left, and he gets caught in the head kick, and his whole body just swings all the way back to the right.
Yeah.
And he falls over, and it was dirty.
He needed this win, too, because he was on a 3-fight skid.
And it sucks when he loses because it's really just him looking for the knockout. And it's like, dude, no, you gotta be a more complete fighter, man.
Yeah, and but yeah, he just, I don't know, he kicked that dude in the head so fucking hard, like you said, he almost did a flip. It was just like, man, like, I don't know, it was just really fun to watch. But I mean, with Di Chirichio, it kind of sucks because he finally came back with a win over Joaquin Buckley. I believe that was his last fight, right?
I think so. Let me check that. Yep. Yeah, he was on a 3-fight losing streak and then beat Joaquin Buckley with a head kick.
Yeah.
And then got knocked out by a head kick.
Yep. And so it sucks to see it because he's kind of, it seemed like he was having a resurgence of his career. He was very emotional whenever he won that fight against Joaquin Buckley. But yeah, man. So onto the main card, I guess. Yeah,
you had Jared Mearshart fight Mahmoud Muradov, and that was a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
I was thinking Mahmoud was going to win it. For a minute, I was like,
dude,
he's getting rocked.
Shit.
Yeah. And then it goes to the ground. And I don't know why you would even engage Gerald Mearshart on the ground. Just don't do it.
Well, like, it was like he was able to avoid it up until like the end of the first. And then after that, Mearshart was able to get him down. And
then he tried to go in for some ground and pound. And I was like, I understand. You got him rocked. But you got him rocked from the feet.
Yeah,
make Gerald stand up
because he was getting hit with some big right hands. Yeah, and all I was thinking is like, man, like you didn't really learn after Hosman knocked you out to keep your fucking hands up and your chin tucked. And he really got, like, I mean, he hit him fucking hard, dude. There was a couple times where like he missed the step, like stepping back.
That's what I'm saying. Just let him stand back up, and you're gonna win that fight.
And what was the guy's name again?
Mahmoud Muradov.
Yeah, Muradov. Like he was coming in with a very heavy win streak in the UFC.
Yeah.
And so he had a lot of hype behind him. But Gerald Mearshart, once he got him to the ground, Muradov, he just seemed like he tired out and just couldn't handle the pressure that Gerald was putting on him. Gerald got a really nasty choke in too.
Yeah. He sunk it in really deep. The second he got it in, it was over.
Yeah.
I called it. I'm so happy I did because I was so worried he was going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Gerald Mearshart's 25th submission win.
So I go on the ground with this guy, man.
Again, like, you knock him down, make him get back up so you can knock him back down. Eventually, the ref's going to stop it.
Yeah,
if you're not knocking him out cold, the ref's going to stop it.
If he stands up and he falls back down, the ref's going to be like, nah, fuck that. This is done.
So, yeah, Mahmoud, learning moment for him, hopefully. The next fight would be Andre Petrosky and Michael Gilmore fighting for the Ultimate Fighter. And Andre Petrosky got the TKO win, but ultimately it was just him taking down Michael Gilmore relentlessly. He got the TKO win, but I want to see more from him. The dude's a freak of nature. He's massive. He's so freakishly strong, and he's got amazing wrestling, and he does hit hard, but I think the way he set this one up worked out well for him. But I hope I see him grow as a fighter. I don't want another boring wrestler.
I don't either, and that's kind of what he is.
The middleweight division doesn't need that.
No, it does not. And so we finally saw the next fight we saw Kevin Lee make his return back to the octagon since his fight against Charles Oliveira, taking on a last-minute replacement in Daniel Rodriguez. I actually missed this fight as well.
Yeah. Synopsis is the word that I'm using again. So this fight was Kevin Lee doing his best to take down Daniel Rodriguez, who's the real welterweight in this fight.
Yeah.
Kevin Lee's fighting at welterweight. I don't think he should be.
No.
And he after a while he just couldn't do it, and Daniel Rodriguez's pressure ended up overwhelming him, and he started getting rocked, and it went to decision. I think had it had started like that a little earlier, Kevin Lee would have gotten knocked out. But yeah, a strong performance by Daniel Rodriguez. Stayed calm, stayed focused, and got the win.
But yeah, that's what. So my last time I remember watching, what's his name? I remember watching Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod. He when not his Mike. It was his Mike Perry fight.
Yeah.
And he like Mike Perry tried to take him down, and he couldn't take him down. And so my thing is like if I don't know where Kevin Lee thinks that he could take him down just because Mike Perry couldn't.
I think it's all that work with GSP.
Yeah,
it's gotta be.
It's one of the things where it's like I've said it before is like. Kevin Lee shouldn't be fighting at welterweight.
Yeah.
He's too small. He doesn't really I understand he's very stocky. He's very explosive, but his weight class is lightweight, and it just I don't know what he has to do to realize that. I mean, or you're gonna keep losing, and it's just like one of his losses. Like whenever he tried welterweight was when he fought. He doesn't even have a win at welterweight, does he? He only has two. I believe he only has 2 fights at welterweight.
Yeah,
and,
I would assume no.
The last one was against Rafael dos Anjos.
The Chiesa fight.
That was at lightweight.
That was at lightweight.
Yeah.
See, it's so hard with those two,
so,
or at least with Chiesa.
He, he just needs to learn how to get his weight under control. I don't really understand what the whole issue with that is. It's just like, look, man, you're a pro fighter. You're trying to go up and fight these guys at welterweight. These guys are too big for you.
Yeah, and you see that with Daniel Rodriguez because. Yeah. I don't think that Daniel Rodriguez really shined in that fight.
No.
He was just bigger and tougher than Kevin Lee is. So it's not a knock on Kevin Lee. It's just you're the smaller guy, and you got treated like it in that fight. So, that's what happens.
Even when he fought Rafael dos Anjos, was a small welterweight, but he learned how to make it work for him. And he got dominated by Rafael dos Anjos in everything but the first round. He gasses out in the first round every time. And it's like, I don't know. It's just frustrating because Kevin Lee has a lot of talent. And it's like, I think he's barely 30 years old now. And it's like, you need to stay at lightweight. You just need to learn how to fucking diet and keep your size down. Eat cleaner. I don't know. Stop getting staph infection.
Yeah, that'll help.
Maybe, but yeah.
Shower after training, yeah.
He would, but yeah, no, he does seriously need to stick to lightweight. I think that's his best bet, and just learn how to cut weight right. I think it's also maybe the other thing. He's a wrestler. Wrestlers aren't really known to cut weight the right way.
Yeah, that's agreed by both of us for sure. But moving to the next fight, you had the first of the Ultimate Fighter finale fights, which was Ricky Tercios fighting Brady Haystand. He's fighting out of Wisconsin with Chiesa and them. I can't remember their gym right now.
I don't know.
But anyway, Ricky Tercios, Houston. Woo, fighting out of Team Alpha Male, though. Boo.
Oh, sorry. Fuck. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was very back and forth. It was just like the Daniel Rodriguez-Kevin Lee fight, I think. And Ricky got the same win the same way that Daniel Rodriguez did. It was a little closer, though. But what were you saying?
I was looking into Ricky Tercios. Tercios. When I keep saying his fucking name wrong.
See, all these names wrong.
He trained at the Gracie Barra Woodlands. Which
okay.
That's that's where Alex Morano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he looked great. He got the win. It was very, very exciting, very fun to watch these Houston guys get these wins.
Yeah.
So the second one would be Brian Battle and Gilbert Urbina, and that one ended up being a submission, a rear naked choke for Brian Battle. I feel like it was late in the fight, but I think it was actually in the middle. But it was pretty solid. Gilbert Urbina was looking good. He was looking strong. And then Brian Battle just turned everything around. All it took was just like 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And he had the fight as a finish. I was like, what you pulled that one out, man.
I was so mad because I picked Gilbert Albina to win, and even though I didn't think he was going to win, I was like, I think he could pull off. He came out looking good.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the fuck happened, and then out of nowhere, Brendan Battle gets his back, and then Brian Battle gets his back, and then chokes him. I feel like Chelsea.
Just start saying that guy.
That Battle gets his back and chokes him out, and I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Like,
yeah, it was.
And he was like in trouble in the first round. He had a great comeback, and I'm like, God, man, what the fuck? Because I put all my points on him to win, on Gilbert Urbina to win. Urbina. It's I know it's Ulbina. Urbina, yeah.
Urbina.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Why am I always wrong to you? What world do you live in, man? Leave me alone.
Man, this one was
why are you always picking on me?
Fucking, that's why. Yeah.
Well, anyway, main event: Giga Chikadze and Edson Barbosa. That was a really fun fight. It started off a little slow. You saw both of them being a little hesitant, pretty respectful of each other's power and striking ability. But then out of nowhere, they turned it on, and they just never stopped.
No, it was a fun fight, and I wish more people watched this fight.
Yeah.
Giga Chikadze is really, really good. Amazing background, third-degree black belt in karate, and I know that sounds kind of lame to say it, but it shows. He also has a great kickboxing record. He's 38-6. I think that's a good record. So you're going against possibly the best kicker in the UFC at one point, and maybe still one of the best kickers in the UFC. And with Edson Barboza,
and Giga's taking that title, man. Yeah, with those body kicks.
Especially after last night. Yeah, for sure. But like leading into this fight, it was
Edson's always going to be known as one of the guys with the best kicks, the best striking. That Terry Edom kick is forever going to be in the top 10 at least.
I was playing with his knife, and I realized how close it was to my crotch. I should probably stop.
I would like it if you wouldn't break the knife.
Come on, break! Look at that. Solid steel, made by Flying Steel. Yeah, made by Flying Steel. This knife is not going to break. I guarantee this knife is not going to break. Jeffrey fucking Barrios throws these knives nonstop, and they stay sharp. They stay clean. This is high grade fucking steel right here. If you wanted to, go and check it out on their website, flyingsteel.com. Use the password NinjaNess72. You can go in and get a knife. Support your local
ninja.
Support your local ninja. Shout out to Jeff for that one.
Sponsor us,
please.
But yeah, so back to the main event. Giga ended up getting the win as a TKO. It kind of just happened. Like they're going at it, and then crazy. Boom, he's out. And I was like, whoa.
It was nuts watching it. I remember like I was like playing zombies, and I was watching these fights, and I just like I kind of go back and forth. You see Giga also, he's really threatening with these takedowns as well. Yeah. And I was surprised to see it. I'm like, okay, this is actually really cool because now he's making him think. That's how you open up your striking. Yeah, he's making him think, and then he starts, instead of not just landing kicks, but he's showing great boxing, showing really good hands, and next thing you know, he's fucking rocking Edson shit. He's rocking him against the cage. Edson's trying to get some space. He's punching Edson in the face, and then Edson's just on wobbly legs after that. It was so bad that the ref just finally came in and stopped it. And it was just an all-around good performance by Giga Chikadze, showing that he's one of the best featherweights in the world right now. And he ended up making a call-out for a fight, and I like this fight a lot. And I think he's the only fighter right now in the division that can really challenge him, and that's Max Holloway.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a pretty good call-out. That's a fun fight that really propels you into title contention. Beating Max Holloway would be a huge deal for Giga Chikadze right now. Yeah,
and honestly, I think he could beat him. I really do think he could beat Max Holloway, and I fucking love Max Holloway. I think he is such a fun fighter to watch. He is an all-around good guy, but I think Giga is the guy that can really push the pace of Max Holloway, and I think Giga also has the ability to show that Max Holloway is just human as well. You know.
Yeah. I think this will never happen, but I really want a Paddy Pimblett and Giga Chikadze fight one day. they hate each other.
Yeah,
it would just be so fun to watch that.
It would be really fun to watch that. And who do you think wins that one?
I would just say Paddy Pimblett
because you're a bigger fan.
Yeah, it'd be a good fight. But as far as who would win, I don't know, man. I don't know how Paddy Pimblett wins his fights. He just makes it work every time, whether it's by submission or TKO.
Yeah,
it's wild, but he does it. It looks wild when he does it, but he does it. So Giga Chikadze, if this lines him up with Max Holloway, you're rubbing off on me. If this lines him up to fight Max Holloway, I'd be pretty excited for that. Do you think if Max Holloway beats him, it puts him at a title shot?
Should.
I think it should too.
You just took out the toughest striker in the division.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have next weekend or the weekend after, you're gonna have the title
it's a while
be
from
put
now.
on the line. Oh, it's a while from now.
Yeah, it's the September 25th.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Oh right, because we don't know how to do the Ultimate Fighter anymore.
Yeah.
We have the coaches fight like a month away from when the finale happens on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I miss whenever they did it cool and they would have it like a headline the fucking finale.
The finale, which makes sense because
that's
that's the whole reason we watched the show.
And then have the fighters who are on the show fight on the finale as well, give them a chance to look good and fight in the UFC.
Freaking Brandon Thacker.
When did they stop doing that?
Jason Thacker.
Yeah.
Jason Thacker. He even got
just
to fight
spritz,
in the freaking Strange Brew.
When did they stop doing that shit though? Like,
when
did they just start letting like fighters headline it? Like, what's the point of the Ultimate Fighter if you're not going to give these guys a chance to at least fight in the UFC one time? You know,
the whole thing originally was if you don't win the show, you're gone.
Yeah.
And then they all went on anyway. Which with the first season, I understand they were freaking good. Everybody was. They were
just different. They stood out.
Yeah, well, back then they were good.
Yeah,
they were freaking good back then, because back then you didn't have exciting wrestlers. Josh Koscheck was an exciting wrestler for back then.
He won by knockout in his first fight in the UFC.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He was an exciting wrestler back then. You either had a wrestler or you had a knockout artist. So that season was different. But yeah, I don't know when they stopped, but.
Doesn't make sense to me though.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's just like, the whole idea is like, they used to always do that. They used to, like, James McSweeney, he fucking fought in the UFC a couple times after he lost.
Yeah.
He lost in the Ultimate Fighter because you at least like line up these good fights from the house to be like, hey guys, like we want y'all to fight in the UFC at least one time. But I guess maybe because the UFC doesn't really know how to put together entertaining cards or gain the audience anymore, they decide, hey, let's just, pretty much. It's like, let's just go ahead and just take that opportunity away from these guys and just have them fucking fight and put all these other fighters out. Oh, by the way, we haven't even advertised this fucking card. So no one's going to watch this really, really good card, And so, I don't know. That just bothers the shit out of me that they didn't let more fighters from the Ultimate Fighter fight on this. From this season fight on this card. That's kind of what it should be.
Yeah, it's the Ultimate Fighter finale for a reason. I don't know. At least let the coaches headline the card, because that's the whole point of the show, is to hype up that fight.
Yeah.
And the winning fights or the finale, but when you split it all up, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of curious now because
as to when they stopped.
Yeah, I'm really wondering when they stopped doing that now. And
well, is there any news, any discussions? Paddy Pimblett's got a fight set.
Yeah.
We've talked about that a little bit already, though.
We haven't got to talk about any of the Jake Paul stuff.
All right, Jake Paul's fighting tonight against Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
There was a big scuffle between Tyron Woodley, his family, and Jake Paul and his side.
Shit. When it happened out, was apparently one of the guys was like talking to Tyron Woodley's mom, and he told him something, and then Jake Paul's in the background, like, cause Tyron Woodley tells the guy, he's like, I'll whoop your fucking ass right now, and Jake Paul's in the background, like, do it then, do it, bitch. And it's just like, after that fight, he's like, I didn't encourage anything. It's like, God, man, like, I really hope Tyron Woodley just rocks your fucking shit.
Well, we'll find out tonight.
Yep.
This episode will come out after it's already happened. So we're not stupid. We're just working in different times.
Yeah. Well, I think because I don't think we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we might not have.
We interviewed Oliver on Wednesday.
Yeah. Hope y'all are enjoying the episode with Oliver. We had a good time with that.
That was fun.
Yeah. We're going to get him and the albino rhino, man bear pig.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Let us know what y'all think if y'all want to see that next time. If you want to hear Oliver Jimenez and Jeremy Milbourne talk, come on, guys. Y'all want to be on?
Please.
But yeah, so that'll be all for this one. Really great UFC fights. Really exciting PFL finales coming up soon. So a lot to look forward to with the new matchups that can be made with these last fights on the UFC and these next PFL cards. So we'll talk to you guys then.